Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brian and Karen over here at the Little Orchard Farm. Welcome to today's video. Today we're going for round number 2 of our meat birds. We went out and we sourced these a little bit differently. So the first time around, we used McMurtry,
Nursery, farm, whatever it's called.
whatever they are, hatchery. Goodness gracious. McMurtry hatchery for our first round of birds. But this time, McMurtry was way out. In fact, we ordered another batch from them. Late August was the earliest we could get them. So we decided to go ahead and try to source them from somewhere else so we could get them right away. And our local rural king had the birds. We're going to see how that goes. They looked healthy. They seemed healthy. But only time will obviously tell. And we'll know that if that's another potential source for us to get acquire our meat birds. Well, so we got a lot to do. We're about to unload them and put them into the brooder. Got a lot to do today. Let's do this. Oh, this is a good batch. It's a cute batch. There they are. They're already getting a little rowdy. Guys, hey there.
I wonder if I should put them in this to start out with, or if I should put it in that little one to start out.
So I added a little bit of electrolyte to their water, Karen will more than likely use a little bit of the apple cider vinegar on the next go around just to keep the probiotic aspect. And we do have actually packaged probiotic as well. But we, first day here, we've learned, get them off and running with a good electrolyte. We also bought a second heater for the brooder. We found that this thing works wonderfully well. Young ones see this as kind of mom, so they rush up underneath it for protection and warmth and so forth. And as they continue to grow out, we've tried it both ways. We've tried standing it up, which also worked. It afforded us some additional room in a tight brooder like this for our layers, where we left them in the brooder a little bit longer. But we just continue to raise it up on the legs as they kind of grow up. And then cold nights, they can get together under here and regulate their temperature and so forth. So we really like this heater. Wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. So now we're not so wigged out or panicky. This is our second time around. So we are experienced chicken meat bird owners. But we do now have a little bit more knowledge this time around than we did the first time. And the next time, come August when we get our next batch, we'll have even more of that knowledge. And what we learned to begin with on the very launching into purchasing the birds and so forth is crushing up their food, crushing even the chick starter. We crushed the chick starter, obviously mix in a nice amount of grit, provide these birds as much room to try to calm their nerves. We don't want to continue to stress them, because I think that's what killed the one that we had and the 2 hens.
Stupid as is.
So yeah, we don't. You want to try to allow them to get situated and acclimated to their new environment without stressing their systems out. And it looks like these are doing pretty well so far. They're all eating. They're all drinking, which is another thing. Again, electrolytes, first day, pops, gives them a bunch of energy, sparks their appetite. And as you can see, they're ready to munch. All right. Well, the birds are in. So start batch number 2. Batch number 2 starts. And, oh, by the way, so Karen's going to do a lot more detailed documenting of these birds. So, how much food they are truly consuming. Our last batch, we estimated, obviously it was, some of that feed was being shared between the layers and the meat birds. So we just kind of guesstimated. We were still on the high side of even the guesstimation, and still came out less than half the cost per pound. So amazingly worth that effort of taking care of the meat birds, raising them up, and harvesting them. So that's when we ran right back out and did it again. Got some more for the freezer. But yeah, we're going to keep up a little bit more closely with what's involved. We are trying to get to a process where cost and effort are optimized. So we're spending the least amount of time and the least amount of money on food and whatnot, or resources that we possibly can to raise these birds up. And really that goes for anything on the farm. The garden will eventually be that same way. We're still learning. The orchard will eventually be that way. We want to optimize our efforts in those areas, because we found that as we added a new area, it got significantly more difficult to find the time to, invest in that adventure. For example, I planted muscadines and grapes, and you put on top of that the orchard management, the garden management, the hens, the meat birds. And for the two of us, man, it's a lot of oversight. It's a lot of management, a lot of things we have to do in spraying or in weed control, whatever, all the different activities for those particular tasks. And then you throw in there some, muscadines and grapes now. And that's just one more thing. So I'm having to find some time to get up and trellis those things and manage it. And here in one more month, you're going to start seeing blackberry season. So we're going to start, obviously, picking blackberries. And that consumes time as we want to get several gallons of blackberries, maybe in hopes of, I don't know, maybe testing out the blackberry wine deal. I don't know. We still got to talk about that. But there's so much fun stuff to do in the summer around here. So many things that we can get involved in. And you just have to you have to be able to optimize your time in these other activities like the meat birds. If we spend a ton of time with them, that means less time in the garden or less time in the orchard. So we're going to start keeping a track of those activities a little bit more closely. All right, so one of the other things that we've done, this is kind of a treat for our hen layers, we haven't done before. I mean, Karen's taken some vegetables and things out there and given them, and they've gone nuts over those. But now we're beginning our training time. And so Karen bought some mealworms. And so what we'll do is we'll put mealworms into an empty Coke bottle or something like that. And she will rattle it as she goes in to feed these treats to them. And the hope is that we will get to a place where when the coop door is open to let them out, she can shake her little mealworm bottle, and they will follow her to where she wants them to graze for the day, and we can then put out our poultry netting in that area, provide the treats to them, and then at night call them back in using maybe a few treats. That's the goal. That's our game plan for the training session for chickens. We're going to walk out there and give them a few right now. Let's see how they like them. So Karen's she's got her bottle there. She's gonna put those in her bottle so she can rattle her bottle. And hopefully that's gonna be the Freudian cue. Hey, chickie chicks. They're getting so big. They're looking so good. Oh, she's got something. What has she got?
You gotta be cleaning out this kitchen chicken coop is what I gotta be doing.
Yeah, we do need to. All right, so Karen's gonna spread a few of those on the ground. Let's see what happens. Hey, look at there. Oop. Now they've started to jump up on the legs now, like so. They will get up here and sit around and chit-chat with us, which is awesome. Really, really good. Oh, there you are. Look at you. This one became probably one of the friendlier ones out of the get-go. She was super friendly. Yeah. Well, they're finding those worms now. All right, so one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to put in a coop ladder or a roosting ladder. We have a couple of nice roosts that go across kind of the top at like the 5 foot, or 4.5 to 5 foot mark. But the chickens are still a little bit too young to get up there. And as you just saw, we were putting them up there, and they love it up there. And they can get down safely, which was the thing that we were most concerned about, was would they be able to kind of glide to a safe landing? And they can. And so what we wanted to do was to be able to put a roosting ladder that would go up to those 2 other bars so that the chickens could work their way up the roosting ladder onto the bar. So that's what I'm going to do today. I picked up a couple of the pieces of lumber that I had out there, some of the skinny pine, and this wood is great. It'll be solid to create our little ladders off of. And so I'm going to make about a 5 foot ladder with 1 foot pegs going across it, and I'm just going to kind of scatter them probably 1 foot to 2 feet apart, going up and down or up the ladder. And then we'll go out there and we'll install it, and we'll see how they like it. We actually just let them out to kind of graze truly open range. We didn't even put them in the tractor. We just let them out. And we'll see how that turns out. Getting them back in may be a challenge, but we'll see. But anyway, let's build ourselves a roost ladder real quick, and we'll get out there and install it. All right, there you have it. We'll see if they use it this evening, and see if we can start getting them to roost up here on the roost bars. Karen has swept it out, replaced it, got some new shavings in here, gave them a new dirt bath to kind of waller in. We notice they really enjoy doing that now. Cleaned off all the different things here. It looks awesome. Nice clean coop. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Let's go see what else we can kind of get into. I'm sure there's probably something else I need to be working on. And yeah. Oh, real quick update. I've been working with the DR rototiller up in the garden for the last several weeks and doing a little tilling here and there. I've finally gotten the hang of it, thanks to some tips from you guys out there, working both the forward and reverse tilling, or the tines, and setting the correct depth. I was able to, well, control it, right? I think the original one looked like me on a bucking bronc several weeks ago. I'll pop that up if you missed it, which is where I give kind of my first take on this rototiller. There are definitely some things, some challenges that came along with just getting it to start. But once we figured that piece out and got the correct settings and began to apply it correctly, I wasn't fighting it as much, and I was actually allowing it to do the work for me, and it's turning out to be a pretty nice little tool. Still not ready to give it a 10 out of 10 on my star ratings, but it's not a 5 out of 10 anymore. We may have bumped it up to a 6 or a 7 by now. So it's taken me a while to get used to it, but I am enjoying it. All right. All right, well, I do see one thing that we are going to have to address today for sure. The flat tire on the tractor. Yep, we've obviously caught something that has punctured the tire. So we're going to have to get that off of there and get it repaired. And I'll let Karen do that tomorrow when she goes to town. We'll get this pulled off. All right, very good. So Karen will get that fixed tomorrow at the shop, and we should be good to go on that. We'll just leave the tractor here this evening, as we are not expected to have any serious weather. All right, so there's one activity that I need to get done today that I've been putting off for a couple of weeks, actually. It's the task of taking the bucket that we had as the leftover from all of the blood harvesting from the chickens, from the cones and whatnot, and all the feathers and stuff. And the bucket's been sitting out here for a few weeks. It is not the best smelling bucket. And so I did find a lid for it. And so fortunately, I'm hoping it's not going to spill out everywhere, but we'll see. I'm gonna let Karen hold this for me. Thank you, Ray. Right. Oh. Oh. That reeks. It is right. Right. have our composting pile. We've been putting some grass shavings or the grass clippings, several of the clippings or the shavings coming out of the chicken coops. And so we're just going to pour this right in. It's ripe. Very ripe. Ugh. Yeah. Feathers, blood, we'll let that all break down and become incredibly nutrient dense compost. Whoop, whoop. Man, just another wonderful Sunday in the South. And we're so glad that you guys chose to share it with us, come along for the journey with us. And we hope that you guys have a wonderful week and a very blessed week. Hey, until we see you again the next time, we will see ya.